In 2017, Maserati was riding high. The Italian luxury automaker sold over 51,000 vehicles worldwide that year. Dealerships sprouted across Europe, North America, and China. The factory in Grugliasco ran at maximum capacity. Revenue topped €4 billion. On paper, it looked like the ultimate triumph of Italian-style meeting corporate strategy. The Trident was soaring. Fast forward to 2025. The picture is almost unrecognizable. Annual sales collapsed to just 7,900 cars. A brand meant to rival the Germans for volume is now outsold by Ferrari and Lamborghini Marques that deliberately cap production to maintain exclusivity. Maserati posted combined losses exceeding €450 million across 2 fiscal years. How did one of Italy's most celebrated automotive icons lose over 80% of its sales in under a decade? Why are dealerships vanishing? And why is the used market treating these six-figure machines like radioactive waste? Today, we're uncovering how one of Italy's greatest automotive legends ended up on the brink of collapse. Before we dive in, if you love deep dives into automotive history, consider subscribing to Marque Moment. Now, back to the Trident. To understand the tragedy, you have to understand the height from which they fell. Maserati wasn't born in a sterile boardroom. It was forged in a modest Bologna workshop in 1914 by brothers obsessed with speed and mechanical artistry. These were craftsmen pursuing passion. The iconic Trident badge, designed in 1920 by Mario Maserati, drew inspiration from Neptune's statue in Bologna's Piazza Maggiore. That symbol first appeared on the Tipo 26 race car in 1926, which promptly won the Targa Florio. Maserati was a racing brand first and foremost. For decades, the company operated as a boutique manufacturer of racing machines and elegant Grand Tourers. These were cars for buyers who wanted something rarer and more soulful than a Mercedes or BMW. In the 1950s, legends like Juan Manuel Fangio steered the 250F to world championships. In 1939, Maserati achieved what no other Italian brand has. They won the Indianapolis 500. This was a brand built on racing DNA, artistry, and Italian glamour that once made even Ferraris look ordinary. However, ownership changes over the years blurred this identity. From Citroën's hydraulic experiments in the 70s to De Tomaso's ambitious but quality-plagued Biturbo in the 80s, Maserati was pulled between nostalgia and reinvention. But the most fatal shift was yet to come, and it came with a spreadsheet, a PowerPoint, and a man who believed he could turn boutique into mass market. The modern decline traces back to 2012 with laser precision. At that time, Maserati was a tiny niche player selling just 6,200 cars per year, profitable and respected. Then came Sergio Marchionne, the larger-than-life CEO of Fiat Chrysler. He looked at Maserati and saw untapped potential. He wanted Maserati to sell 75,000 cars per year by 2018. From 6,200 to 75,000 in 6 years, that's not growth. It's a complete transformation. To achieve this, Maserati abandoned its boutique mindset and went head-to-head with the German giants. Their primary weapon was the Ghibli, launched in 2013 at around $66,900. The cheapest Maserati ever, aimed squarely at BMW 5 Series buyers. Initially, it worked brilliantly. In 2014, sales surged 136%. By 2017, the brand hit its absolute peak. Champagne flowed, bonuses were paid, and the future looked golden. But this volume came at a hidden cost. Spotting a Maserati used to be an event. By 2015, Ghiblis appeared on aggressive lease specials and parked outside suburban office buildings. The Trident was becoming common. Exclusivity evaporated. Then came the devastating blow. When Marchionne died unexpectedly in July 2018, the brand lost its most forceful advocate. His successor, Mike Manley, later admitted that grouping Maserati with Alfa Romeo under shared management was a catastrophic mistake. The dilution of focus was exactly what the struggling brand did not need. Industry experts call what happened next brand delusion. This occurs when an exclusive brand tries to become common, stretching its prestige so thin that the magic evaporates. A luxury purchase is an emotional contract. When a customer spends six figures on a dream car, they expect a bespoke experience. Instead, Maserati owners found cheap plastic buttons and infotainment screens pulled from Dodge and Jeep parts bins, constant reminders that they hadn't bought the dream they were promised. You've spent $90,000 on an Italian masterpiece. You open the door, and there's a switch from a $50,000 Dodge. The illusion shatters. The contract is broken. Maserati tried to position itself as the accessible Ferrari, but in luxury, cheaper is not an identity, it's a death sentence. While Ferrari maintained value through engineered scarcity, Maserati flooded the market, even pushing cars into corporate fleets and rental agencies. Once a status symbol appears at an airport taxi rank, the luxury buyer's contract is irrevocably broken. You cannot be exclusive and ubiquitous at the same time. Maserati never resolved that contradiction. In 2021, the situation grew more complex when Fiat Chrysler merged with PSA to form Stellantis. Under Carlos Tavares, the focus shifted to aggressive cost-cutting and margin squeezing. Prices across the Maserati lineup climbed just as the brand's relevance hit an all-time low. The Ghibli and Quattroporte were discontinued after 2022, and the Levante SUV, once the workhorse accounting for 55% of sales, was left to age without a direct combustion replacement. In their place, Maserati launched the Grecale compact SUV in 2022. While competent, it faced a stiff headwind. Priced to compete with the Porsche Macan, the Grecale struggled to match Porsche's engineering credibility and brand trust. In 2024, Porsche moved over 83,000 Macans. Maserati produced only 7,250 Grecales, a 58% drop from the previous year. By 2024, total global sales fell to 11,300 units, a 50% collapse in 12 months. By 2025, the brand shipped just 1,700 vehicles in the first quarter alone. For every 100 euros of revenue, Maserati was losing 25 euros. This is not a business in transition, it's a business in freefall. As sales cratered, the physical infrastructure dissolved. Across the US and Europe, Maserati showrooms are closing city by city, creating a vicious cycle. In Southern California, 4 dealerships shut down in quick succession. In Salt Lake City, a dealer closure in 2025 left owners facing a 7-hour drive to Las Vegas for warranty repairs. Imagine spending 6 figures on a car and then driving 7 hours just to get it serviced. In France, a franchise liquidated inventory at public auction. A brand new 2024 Gran Turismo Trofeo with a sticker above 255,000 euros saw bidding start at just 80,000 euros. That's not depreciation, that's a cliff. When an owner cannot get basic service without a multi-state road trip, it's no longer a brand in transition. It's a brand losing its ability to serve customers. And once you lose that, you lose them for good. Maserati's Hail Mary was the Folgore strategy, Italian for lightning. The plan was bold: go fully electric by decade's end, a fresh start. But the Grecale Folgore was built on a modified gas platform, not a bespoke EV architecture. This led to range and packaging compromises that reviewers quickly criticized. The market's response was chilling. In 2024, across Italy, Germany, and France combined, Maserati registered roughly 150 battery electric vehicles. In the same period, Porsche sold over 18,000 electric Macans, 150 versus 18,000. The scale of failure is staggering. The financial bleeding forced Stellantis to pull the plug entirely. In February 2025, they wrote off €1.5 billion in planned investment, canceling the electric successors to the Quattroporte and Levante. In a single earnings call, the brand's product roadmap for the next 5 years vanished. No roadmap means no future. You can find Maseratis for the price of a mid-sized sedan. Tempting, right? A 6-figure Italian supercar for a fraction. But there's a reason they depreciate like they're going out of style. First, reliability woes. Maserati consistently ranks near the bottom, trading punches with Range Rover and Jaguar for most unreliable luxury brand. From NHTSA recalls affecting over 32,000 vehicles to engine stopping, software glitches, and failing oil pump seals, trust is broken and nearly impossible to rebuild. Second, brutal depreciation. The Ghibli loses an average of 69% of its value in 5 years. While Porsche or Lamborghini hold 57–60%, a Maserati owner is often underwater on a car, increasingly difficult to fix and harder to sell. Third, the Ferrari tax on maintenance. Even if you buy cheap, parts remain elite priced. An oil service can cost $500, $600. A set of brakes, $4,000, $5,000. With carbon ceramics like the MC20, a full brake replacement can reach $25,000, $30,000, more than many people pay for an entire car. Fourth, insurance cost. Because they're Italian thoroughbreds, with expensive bodywork, $7,000 headlights, $4,000 mirrors. Premiums average $3,000, $6,000 a year. The result? A used Maserati isn't a bargain. It's a financial trap. The ultimate tragedy is that Maserati can still build truly great cars. The engineering talent is there. MC20 supercar is a beautiful mid-engine machine with a world-class in-house Nettuno V6. It can hold its head high. In a drag race against the Porsche 911 GT 3RS, the MC20's 630 HP twin-turbo V6 out accelerates the Porsche in the quarter mile. Reviewers praise its speed and gorgeous looks. But even here, underinvestment peeks through. Compared to the Porsche, the MC20's brake feel is described as horrible and odd, reflecting a lack of deep-pocketed development money. The devil is in the details, and Maserati has always struggled with details. These halo cars prove the talent is there, but they don't move enough volume to sustain a company losing hundreds of millions a year. A halo car can inspire, but it cannot save a sinking ship. As of early 2026, Maserati stands at a crossroads. Stellantis has hired McKinsey to evaluate the brand's future, fueling persistent rumors that the Trident might finally be put up for sale. Officially, Maserati is not for sale, but canceling billions in investment tells a different story. The brand's decline is a textbook case of short-term volume chasing destroying long-term brand equity. You cannot be the accessible version of something defined by its inaccessibility. 110 years ago, 5 brothers in Bologna built a legacy on racing and ambition. They could never have imagined the company would belong to a conglomerate reporting €26 billion in losses. The Trident still sits on the gates of the factory in Modena. But whether those gates will still be open in 5 years is a question nobody at Stellantis seems willing to answer. Can Maserati find its way back? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, consider subscribing to Marque Moment. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.